What the going on this team, Jerry?
Bury him! Bury him!
Jerry, TJ Watt.
He is the best defensive player on the planet.
Go! Yes! Yes! We're going to fire! Steelers fans! Bang! Run it down their throat!
No! That's not a penalty!
Game over! Game over! Don't ask me to do nothing! This is nothing!
He's aggressive.
Hello. Welcome back to another episode of the Steel Here podcast, where I'm your host, Kevin Adams, alongside my partner in crime, Jersey Jerry. Jerry Don, we are heading into week 7 of the NFL season. Our Pittsburgh Steelers sit at 4-2, but it looks like they're making a change at the quarterback spot. You're finally, it appears, he got the number 1 practice reps today. Russell Wilson is going to get to start Sunday for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Jerry Don, you're going to get your wish. Is it something you believe that they should still do?
I'll be honest. I was definitely pro Russy, especially, off season, all that stuff. I am pretty surprised, and I tweeted it. I was really surprised when they made the move. If they're going to make the move, it seems like they will.
Mm-hmm.
I still have all the confidence in the world in Russ. My gripe with Fields is just like, hey, he beats you with his legs.
Mm-hmm.
He does a great job of that. But when it comes to, completing passes and, throwing for a good amount of yards like the NFL is designed today, what you have to do, he just doesn't check those boxes. Now, the flip side to that is Russ mobile enough to escape the pocket, push the ball downfield? He's not going to beat you with his legs, Russ. We already know that.
Mm-hmm.
But does he still have some mobility left to get out the pocket, push the ball downfield? I think he does. People are saying, he's going to get sacked so much. I hope that's not the case. I really don't. But at the end of the day, I think the Steelers are making the right decision. I do. It's early enough, and here's why I say that. You have 2 weeks to the bye, right?
Yep.
At least you're going to get a look at Russ these next 2 games, bearing, if he's going to be the starter or not. Let's say he does start and plays the Jets, right?
Mm-hmm.
You'll have a look at him there. And if Tomlin wants to have another look at him, you'll have him for the Giants game. And then you could just say, fuck it. We're going back to Fields. Russ didn't do it for us. You know what I mean? Or on the other hand, you could say, oh, shit. We're throwing for 250 yards a game, 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns. We're playing great defense. We're in all ththese games. We're winning these games. And you stick with Russ. You still know what you got in Fields pretty much.
I hate it. I fucking hate it. When we recorded after the Vegas game, you were like, I think they're going to stick with Fields. And I said, no, I think they're going to go to Russ, because ultimately I knew that this was probably what was going to happen. They want to run the offense where you can use the wide receivers. Watching the film back and so many people chop it up and show, look, this guy's wide open, Fields doesn't see him. George Pickens is wide open, Fields can't get to the progression. He's missing wide open receivers, and he's running so much. And while I do agree, he does miss wide receivers. The problem is you just lost your best lineman. You just lost Zach Frazier they said he's not going to be back till after the bye week, so he'll likely play against the Commanders. So he's gone the next 2 weeks and then the bye week. You're going to throw Russell Wilson in there with one of the worst lines, in my opinion, as far as pass blocking is concerned. His first game coming off of the injury, no games at all against a team who is clawing their way, who absolutely needs to have a win with a pretty damn good defense that can get after the passer. And you're going to make that Russell Wilson's first game out. Okay. I hate that, especially because Fields is your best threat in the run game. Okay. The Jets defense is the number 2 best passing defense in football. They have the number 17 rush defense. I think it is crazy that you're going to Russ this week. I thought if you were going to go to him, maybe you go to him coming out of the bye against the Commanders. I am honestly kind of shocked. I don't know if maybe they really do value the passing game that much and think that Russ is going to bring you that much better benefit in the passing game. I I just don't know how much more passing attack we're going to have with Russell Wilson versus Justin Fields if there's just no time for him to find the guys that are open. We know Russ doesn't really use the middle of the field. Are you going to give him a ton of time to sit in the pocket? I highly doubt it. One thing you did say, though, it's not like Russ is going to kill you with his legs, but last year I looked into some stats. He was the 7th most rushed quarterback in football. He had the 7th most rushing yards. So he does have some ability to scramble around. I just don't know if our line is going to give him the ability to make enough plays where it's going to make a drastic difference that it's going to matter to this year or into the future. Now, people have said, they have refuted this. I see it on Twitter every single day. If you think Russell Wilson gives you a better chance to win a Super Bowl this year, you have to play him. I agree with that. I just don't know what the plan is in the future if you can see Justin Fields is getting a little bit better, and then you're just going to throw him back for Russ. What signal does that send to Justin Fields?
Yeah, no, I think all those points are fair. Listen, everybody's going to have different opinions on this. Maybe not. I think most people on Twitter, it seems like, want Fields to start. The thing is this. There's a lot of factors here that people aren't talking about. You have a draft pick that's up. It's either going to be a 4th or a 6th, correct?
Correct. So if Justin Fields plays more than 51% of the Pittsburgh Steelers snaps, the 6th round draft pick that we've currently sent to Chicago has to turn into a 4th round draft pick.
Exactly. So that's at stake. People are like, oh, well, that's not big enough. Well, here's another one that could play a factor into it. When Russ was making his decision, I guarantee you he was promised to be quarterback 1.
I'm sure of it.
I can guarantee you he was promised, this is your football team, you're going to be quarterback 1. Injury set him back. Mike Tomlin, big believer in this, has always said it. Guys aren't going to lose their jobs to injuries. Has said it multiple times. Maybe Tomlin feels like he just owes it to Russ to just throw him out there, see what he's got, and guess what? If it doesn't work out this week and then next week, I think they go back to Fields after the bye. Listen, do I think the season is dead after a 4-4 start? Possibly. It could be. It really could be. Well, we've seen this story multiple times before where the Steelers crawl their way back and, have a game over 500, crawl their way into the playoffs. Is it going to be tough? Yeah, 100%. I don't think he loses both games, though. I really don't. I think they have a good chance to beat the Jets. The Jets are really, really desperate. Their offense is just not clicking. They just picked up Devontae Adams. Great. He has a connection with Rodgers. Does he know the playbook? Probably not. He's just going to have a connection with Rodgers. Who knows what that chemistry is like? Is it instantly going to, happen? I don't think it's instantly going to happen. Do the Steelers have a tough test this week? Yes, absolutely. Jets, they have a lot of playmakers. I think while it's not the right decision or the right time, I think they have to just see what Russ has. And if he stinks, he stinks. I'll be the first one to put my hand up and say I was wrong. But a part of me believes that Tomlin says he owes it to Russ.
Well, here's the thing. Tomlin can say anything he wants. He's obviously the head coach of the team. He's going to make the final decision. Albert Breer, he's an NFL insider. Just before we recorded, I was listening to what he was saying on the Rich Eisen show, and he said that there are a ton of people inside of the Pittsburgh Steelers organization that want them to keep going with Justin Fields. So this could be, Jerry, this could honestly be the biggest decision of Mike Tomlin's career, is pulling Fields after you're 4-2, 10 touchdowns, 1 interception. It's not like it's not like he's fucking terrible, No. I mean, I feel like he's been at least good enough to win some games. I wish he would start faster. I think you could chalk that up to some of the play calling, though. I think that's a mix of things, why it's not just the Steelers scoring points early. He hasn't looked sharp at times, but at other times, I think he's looked absolutely incredible. But it leads me to, what do we really think we're going to get out of Russell Wilson? Is it going to be that much more drastic than what you get out of Justin Fields? Like, you believe that? You think you're going to get that much more production out of...
Passing wise, yes. I think it's going to be a big difference. Mobility wise, no. Fields can, score touchdowns in the red zone with his legs, has done it all year, hasn't turned the ball over, so I give him credit there. He has not lost the Steelers any games, I would say. Mm-hmm. Russ, I'm in the same spot, dude, as I've been since week 1. I eventually wanted to see Russ because you can't just let a guy sit on the bench all year, and you just don't know what he has, especially to a guy who, you know, I'm not saying they went all in for him because he's a fucking $1 million. It's nothing.
Right.
But I'm sure he was promised some things. I'm sure he had other options.
I got to cut you. I don't give a fuck what he was promised. Like, that doesn't mean dick to me, and it shouldn't mean dick to you
that means
either.
a lot to Mike Tomlin. It might not mean nothing to you.
Yes, that's my problem.
That means to Mike Tomlin. We're irrelevant here. We don't matter.
Yeah, but I fucking hate that. If that's what it is, that's the dumbest way to look at this decision.
I'm sure that's what it is. I can tell you, I'm pretty sure that there's a little part of this, maybe a big part, that Mike Tomlin has promised this guy certain things, and, you know, he's finally fully healthy. He was probably fully healthy last week.
Okay, well, listen to this.
Because we put up 30 points.
Did they not promise Kenny the job when he was coming back from the ankle injury last year, and then Mason goes out and balls against the Bengals, scores the 30 points, and then Kenny gets, you know, he can't play against the Seahawks?
You broke up. I lost you.
Can you hear me?
I hear you now.
Yeah, we cut out. But did they not promise that to Kenny last year, that he would come back after the Bengals game? But then, unfortunately, Mason goes crazy, plays great, and then Kenny doesn't get his job back against the Seahawks, and the rest is history. Yeah. So what does he really mean that, or is he just using that as a cop-out?
I'm sure if Russ goes out there and plays really well, Justin Fields is going to be on the bench the rest of the year. I could see that. Yeah. You know?
And so then what does that tell you, though?
Oh, it's Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin's the person here who is making these decisions, which he should. He's the head coach, but it could be a decision that bites him in the ass.
It could.
Which it might. It might.
It very well could. And for me, it's okay, Russ comes out, and let's look at it from both sides. Say Russ sucks, and they lose 2 games, and those 2 games come back to cost them the division later in the year. You said we've seen this, we claw out. I'm tired of fucking clawing out. I want to make the playoffs handily. I want to go into week 17 with a chance at the division. I want to try and win the fucking division. We've said so many times the Steelers really want to get over the hump and win a playoff game. You better win the division. Have the playoff game at home. Stop trying to go to Arrowhead or going to a place like Buffalo where you're outmatched. You got to try and get one of those lower seeds in the first round. If he makes this decision and it costs them the next 2 games or 2 of the next 3 games before they go back to Fields, that's a pretty big fucking mishap by Mike Tomlin. And I will put my foot on his throat if that happens. Now, what if Russ goes out there and he fucking balls his ass off, Jerry, and the passing game looks way better? Does that tell you maybe Justin Fields is not the guy of the future then?
There's a part of me that still believes that Justin, you know, has some work to do still, but he could be the future. But the thing is this, you know, you run into this where Justin Fields is 4-2. He's playing well, I would say. You know, he's not losing them any games, not turning the ball over. Mm-hmm. And Russ comes in, plays, you know, just as good, if not a little bit better than Fields.
Sure.
Fields rides the bench all year. And it comes time for the offseason, and who's your guy? I'm guessing it's Russ. You know, Fields is just going to be like, what the fuck, dude? I'm not going to stay here and just rot on the bench. I want to go get a chance to start somewhere. I was 4-2, and you fucking took me out. I don't know. There's still like 2% of me that says Fields is starting. I don't know why.
I don't know, dude. I really think this. So Kaboli, I messaged Kaboli before we record. Mark Kaboli, he's a beat writer for the Steelers, and I said, "Did Russ get the reps with the ones?" He said, "Yeah," and he looked sharp. And Kaboli's been basically same as Jerry. I mean, he has wanted Russ Wilson to start for weeks now. He kept saying he's coming back. When Russ comes back, he's the starter, etc. So take it with a grain of salt that he says he looks sharp, but I trust Kaboli, and if he's saying that he looks sharp, I would love to see the passing game improve, no doubt about it, because when you see guys that are open and not getting hit, it is a little frustrating because I think you and I both believe that in January, you can't just win with the legs. You have to win with the arm. And if we really want to get to where we want to go, you're going to need to have a passing attack. So there is a part of me, I'm not going to completely shit on Russ. There is a part of me that wants to see the passing game succeed. And I think it is better in Russ's hands. It's just that when I watched that game back on Sunday, they're 4th and 1 in the red zone at like the 2-yard line. That's the one where they fake the handoff to Najee and then Fields keeps it on the left side. When they fake the handoff to Najee and Fields keeps it on the left side, he has two tight ends. He has Connor Hayward a little shallow, and then he has Pat Freiermuth in the backside of the end zone. Both covered. Nobody even close to them. He makes that play with his legs, though it was not designed to be a keeper automatically. I'm guessing it was pass first. He makes that play with his legs. I don't know if Russ is going to outrun the edge there and score the touchdown, or if that ball gets turned over. Yeah. It's little plays like that where our offensive line, I don't have enough faith in, that I do trust more the ability for the Steelers to win games right now with Justin Fields' legs if the offensive line is not going to buy him any time.
Yeah, no, while I agree with that, you would also have to probably agree with, hey, there's times where Calvin Austin's wide open and he misses them. Yeah. There's times where, George Pickens was open early in the year and he misses him, or it's a bad ball. There's like back and forth. You can go either way about it. If it was up to me, what I would do in a game like the Jets game, I don't think I would throw Russell Wilson in right away. I would give Fields a quarter or two to just see again. You know what I mean? Russ is fully healthy now. Like, I would give him a quarter or two to see, and then possibly bring in Russ if the passing game is really, really struggling. But if they're in the game, I would keep Fields. But, I guess they're just going to go with Russ. And I think this is a 2-week trial period for Russell Wilson. I don't think this is going to be, hey, you're our guy for the rest of the season. I don't think it's that. I mean, there's no way.
This is huge. This is a really big decision. I mean, I'll think of how many times you've had a 4-2 quarterback, 10 touchdowns, 1 turnover, and the guy gets benched. It doesn't happen very often. I can't think of many times.
Yeah, you don't see that. You don't see it.
I mean,
maybe they just are like, he's just not getting it done throwing the ball. I don't know.
But he's getting it done. What is Tomlin's big thing? No matter what, get it done any way necessary. Win the game, right? Win the fucking game. That's what he preaches. We don't care about numbers. We don't care about stats. Win the fucking game. He's 4-2. The guy is 4-2, and honestly could be 5-1 if the defense could have got off the field against the Cowboys. Could be 5-1 if the defense doesn't give us a 17-point hole at the beginning of the Colts game. So for me, as much as we're talking about the quarterback situation, Sunday against the Jets, the defense to me is going to be one of the most important things to watch. Because look at our 2 losses, Jerry. We lose to quarterbacks that are more veteran, know how to read a defense, and just pick apart our zone defense. You lose to Joe Flacco, who goes up and down the field against us, and you lose to Dak Prescott, who, barring a couple of shitty Dak Prescott turnovers, just sliced us up and down the field all day. Yeah. And so that's my fear. Aaron Rodgers, while the Jets don't score that many points and they're struggling and they're 2-4 and their season's on life support right now, they absolutely have to beat us on Sunday night. I think Aaron Rodgers is one of those quarterbacks that knows how to pick apart a Mike Tomlin defense. So Sunday for me is equally as much about seeing how the defense plays against another real quarterback. Because in the playoffs, you're not going to get Aiden O'Connell's. You're not going to get Kirk Cousins his first week of the season. You're not going to get rookie Bo Nix in his second start. You're going to have to beat Herbert was hurt. So really, we haven't beat a real quarterback while he's playing good football yet this year. And while Aaron Rodgers is not playing good football, he could slice our asses up on Sunday.
Yeah, it's a big worry. That's definitely a big worry. The thing is with Russ is, with Fields, you had the ability, for like read options and shit like that, to get those.
Keep the chains moving. Keep the chains moving.
Yeah, to get those like 3rd and 2s and 3rd and 1s and 3rd and 3s. It's like, with Russ, like you don't really have the ability to do that. So that scares me about the offense stalling. I'm still torn because I want to see Russ really bad, but the Jets defense does scare me. I wouldn't have thrown him to the Wolves like this. But that's why I go back to what I said, Kev, is like, there might be that like Tomlin and Russ, communication in the beginning of the year. And I don't know, man. It feels weird to put him in a spot like this. If the Steelers were like, 3-4, I would get it, but 4-2 is a little weird.
Jerry, they just scored 32 points, man. I mean, you're benching a guy after 32 points.
Yeah.
It's odd to me. I don't know. This to me could be one of those decisions Mike Tomlin makes that I never forgive him. While I'm not the biggest Tomlin fan, I honestly wanted the guy gone in 2017, and I've been pretty open about saying that. I take my foot off his throat whenever they win games because you got to give him the respect when he deserves it. But this is one of those things where if it is true that a lot of people on the Steelers organization would prefer if they go with Fields over Russ this week, and he puts the, Russ out there and spits in the eye of a lot of the people that surround him, what's the point in having all of these coaches that we ask to surround Mike Tomlin if he doesn't take any of their input? Now, he does get the final say, but man, this one could sink the boat for Mike Tomlin, in my opinion. This could sink the boat.
I would love to know, how just the offensive side of the ball, how they feel about this. How does Najee and Pickens and
did you hear GP's comments? I think I told you about that yesterday.
No, I didn't hear.
So George was on I can't remember what it was, inside the NFL Network. I don't know. They did an interview with George, and they asked him, who do you prefer, Russ or Fields? And he had said, they both win in different ways. Justin obviously wins a different kind of way than Russ wins. They're both good quarterbacks. And I know everybody thinks I'm some selfish guy. I'm the most unselfish guy you could think of. I just want to win football games at the end of the day. That part I don't agree with. I don't think just winning games is what George Pickens is after. No. I think he wants some numbers, but that is what it is. I think the receivers as a whole just want the ball. I think the receiving game as a whole just wants better passing. Now, Fields is getting it done, and if you're a very unselfish football player and all you really do care about is winning, 4-2, you got to be happy with that. I don't think Fields. I don't think they're going to clamor for one side or the other right now. It's not like one guy is so much head and shoulders better than the other, in my opinion, that they're going to try and make a case for one or the other. But I mean, if the passing game goes out there and it looks significantly better, it will open up the running game. The offense as a whole could play better if we had a better passing game, or the threat of a better passing game. You're going to get lighter boxes. You're going to have more ability for Najee and Jalen Warren to find open lanes. So, there are some parts of this game I'm very interested to see. It's just, man, the Jets defense is a lot better than their record at 2-4 would say it is.
Yeah, well, the world's going to see this game. It's prime time Sunday night. The media is going to love this game because Russ is coming in and you got that storyline there. They can make the case for Tomlin making a bad decision if Russ sucks. Or, hey, Tomlin, this is why he's one of the best coaches in the NFL. He just made the right decision. Russ just went out there and threw for 275 yards and 2 touchdowns, looked incredible, and they won the game by, a touchdown or something like that. You don't know what's going to happen. I think it's going to be a close game either way, whether it be Fields or Russ. I think it would be a close game.
The last thing I will say about that is that if Russ does go out there and ball, so I really got to figure out how to go about talking about Mike Tomlin in the future, because that's going to be me having to sit here and say, Jesus, he made the right call again. Like, this guy every time I want to bury him, he does something where it's like, he did that right. I mean, what do you want me to say? So yeah, that's where I'm at with that. Jerry, one thing I do want to say about Sunday's game as I watched it back, the Raiders game, the defense as a whole played great, but I think that the linebacker play was the best that it's been all year. Landon Roberts 100%. Had a phenomenal game. Patrick Queen, I think, had his best game in a Steelers uniform. Peyton Wilson had a very good game. There's one play in specific I want to highlight because you got to see a little more Landon Roberts than you have in a few weeks past. TJ's first strip of the running back, when he first punches that football out, Landon Roberts causes a lot of that play. He crashes. It's a pitch to the right side. He crashes the hole so hard, he forces the running back to cut back inside. When he cuts back inside, he cuts right into TJ's right hook. And so I think Landon Roberts, man, again, we said it last week, I really, really like the way that this guy has been playing football. And if that middle linebacker spot can start to really round into form, it's what we said before the season. I think that can carry the Steelers defense because we've missed an elite middle linebacking core for so many years that it looks like if they can play like they played against the Raiders, who are an inferior opponent, and the Jets have 2 very good running backs, so you're going to need to get some good middle linebacker play. I will be a lot more optimistic about the Steelers defense if the inside linebacker position can really play like they played on Sunday.
No, same here. I also thought Minka played pretty well as well. I know he got dinged up a little bit, but he seems to be fine. I'm excited for this game, man. I think it's going to be a scrappy game. I don't think there's going to be a ton of points scored. If I was to my final prediction on the game, I think the Steelers win this game, and I think the score is going to be somewhere around 23-20.
Wow, you think 43 points, 23-20.
Yeah, I do. I think you'll have I think the Steelers are going to start hot.
Oh, Chad, that's a hot take. That's the hottest take you've ever had on this show.
I think the Steelers I think they're going to start hot at home. Listen, the thing is this. I feel like the world is just going to be, especially gambling-wise, all over the Jets because of Devontae Adams and whatnot. You know what I mean? Steelers, home dog. Tomlin as a home underdog, that is scary. I take Tomlin any day of the week in that position.
Let's look at some of the stats. So I enjoy looking at the stats, especially through 6 weeks, because it's a lot more clear of how things are rounding into form. The Jets have 305 yards per game. We have 299. So neither of our offenses really light the world up so far through 6 games. They score 18.8 points per game. We're at 20.7. So it's rare that, hey, Jerry, we're in the 20s. 20.7 there. That is improvement. Last year we ended the season at 18. We're up 3 points per game from there. We've discussed earlier it could be higher than that if they would have scored when they could have. The Jets have 87 rushing yards per game. We have 131 rushing yards per game. They average 217 passing. We only average 166, which is 6 from dead last. So, that to me is why Russell Wilson is going to play on Sunday. Is that number? I mean, it's 166 passing yards is so low. It's hard to beat. It's hard to beat teams late in the season when you have no threat of a passing game.
Who's the other teams below us? Panthers.
No, I don't. Are the Panthers even going to be down there now? You're looking at Dalton has turned that passing game around for the Panthers at this point.
I'm sure it would be like the Dolphins, possibly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's take
Patriots, Dolphins. I would say
it's got to be some bad football teams because that's.
Oh yeah. So some bad offense.
The worst are the Vikings. No way, that can't be right.
Really?
That can't be right. Passing yards per game. You are looking at oh boy, we do suck. Wow. And you know what the scariest part about this is? 3 of these teams have had a bye week already. The Titans are dead last. The Chargers, then the Patriots, Browns.
Yeah, they run the ball a lot.
Patriots, Browns, Dolphins, Broncos, Steelers, and 3 of those teams have already had a bye week. So we have one more game than them, and we only have 200 more yards than the worst passing team. So,
yeah, that's terrible.
So the Steelers would be realistically, when it all evens out, they're going to be right around the worst passing offense in football.
Yeah, it's not good.
I mean, now let's look at defensively though. They give up 273 a game. We give up 294. They are the second best defense in football. We're the 8th best defense if you're looking at it from a per yards game. So defensively, this is going to be a dogfight. That's why I'm kind of interested that you think that we're going to start fast. We don't start fast against anybody, and I don't think we're going to start fast against the number 2 defense in football.
I think we're going to have a spark.
I hope it doesn't burn the fucking building down. Let's just say that. 148 passing yards a game. We give up 209. They give up 124 rushing yards a game. We give up 85. They give up 18 points a game. We give up 14. The Steelers are +7 in the turnover battle. The Jets are -1. So we protect the ball better. We get more takeaways than the Jets do. We don't give up that many points on defense. It's just we're going to have a day of rushing. That's, to me, is going to be where our offense goes. If Russ is really going to get thrown to the wolves, you're going to have a great day on the ground rushing. And the Jets are right in the middle of the pack as far as the rushing defense. So if you're going to attack them, it's not really through the air this week. This isn't really the week. Sauce Gardner, maybe the top 2 cornerback in football. How's George Pickens going to look against him? That's, to me, another reason it's interesting. You're going to take out your best rushing attack in Justin Fields and go to Russ the 1 week where you have a defense where that might be the avenue you have to use to beat them.
Yeah, and the scary part is, let's say the Steelers come out slow again, which they've been known to do in the past, is now you're not only playing from behind, you're playing from behind in a guy's first start of the year, 6-7 weeks into the season, who really has had zero game experience with players on the Steelers. The only time he's had with them is in practice. Is like, now you're going to ask Russ to throw the ball 35 times
against the number 2 defense in football.
Yeah, that's when it gets scary.
That to me is worrisome. I mean, we're going to find out. If he is, it's not like we're throwing a rookie to the Wolves. This is Russell Wilson, 13 NFL seasons. The guy has played some football. He's won Super Bowl. He's been in 2 Super Bowls. He's played in big games against good defenses. So I'm not really worried like, oh, he's going to panic. It's more so, Jesus, man, coming right out of the gates with, he doesn't have any chemistry with the wide receivers yet. How is all of that going to look? It's just a very interesting situation, if you're asking me. Now, offensively, the Jets, they're not very good, but they just added Devontae Adams, and they have weapons all over their offense. That's why it's mind-blowing. They suck this year.
I know. Breece Hall, Braylon Allen, fucking Garrett Wilson, Devontae Adams, Conklin. I mean, they got them all. Rodgers.
Beanie Bishop scares.
They're loaded, man.
Beanie Bishop scares the shit out of me. I think Beanie Bishop is the biggest worry that I have. You think Aaron Rodgers isn't licking his lips looking at Beanie Bishop on the other side, especially if you can slide Devontae Adams into the slot. Man, he's gonna smack on Beanie Bishop. That to me is gonna be one of the biggest reasons. I think if the Steelers are gonna win, it's gonna be you're gonna have to rush the shit out of them. If we lose this game, I'm fine losing this game if they at least are blitzing the shit out of Aaron Rodgers. Because if they sit back and play zone coverage, Aaron Rodgers is going to shred them if we cannot get home. And so that is going to be the biggest way you have to beat him is look what the Bills just did to him on Monday night. They rushed the shit out of Rodgers. It looked like every play he was under duress. That's what we're going to have to do, Jerry, if we want to beat him on Sunday night.
Yeah, the pass rush got to be there. I know we're getting Highsmith back, right?
Highsmith is playing this week, thank God. Another guy who has been on an absolute tear is Cam Hayward. Jerry, Cam Hayward is having arguably one of the best seasons of his career. I mean, I want to take a second just to tip the cap to him. If you use PFF for statistics, which I hate them, but in this instance, it's a good barometer for how Cam is playing. He's the number 1 defensive lineman in football. He is the number 1 run stopper in football, which happens to be third time in his career he's had that. And he's the number 3 pass rusher in football from a defensive line standpoint, which is the best of his career. I mean, he's having an all-pro season coming off of injury. You and I both didn't want to pay him until after this season. They did pay him. It's a very team-friendly contract if you're getting that kind of output. I've got to give Cam Hayward credit. Coming back from that injury when we thought he was going to be dead, he's having an unbelievable year, and I think he's going to have another great game on Sunday night against the Jets.
I hope so. We need it bad.
Jerry Don, so you said that the Steelers win. Do you want to get into the betting? Let's take a look and see how things went last week. So you did hit your Najee Harris anytime touchdown score. It has been a while since we've seen him make a breakaway touchdown, but you hit that bet. Good for you. You are now 3-4 on the year. I had the under 36.5. Again, I cannot hit an under to save my life. I am 2-5 on the year. Jerry Don, you get to make 2 bets this week. The line is the Jets are favorites at 1.5. The over-under is 38. The Steelers, if you're taking the money line, would be plus 102. What's your bet this week, Jerry Don? You get 2 of them.
Well, my main bet is going to be Steelers plus 1.5, the spread.
Mm-hmm.
My second bet is going to be whatever quarterback is in. I don't care who it is, whether it's Fields or it's going to be Russ. Over 1.5 touchdown passes.
So you would leave. Well, let's just say this. You're saying that even if Fields starts, you still believe that the Steelers are gonna if they lose, that's by less than 1.5 is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm taking the Steelers plus 1.5, which I'm pretty much taking the money line at that point.
So you believe no matter what, if it's Fields or Russ, you believe that the Steelers win on Sunday.
I think Tomlin home underdog. I think I'll never bet against that. He's just too good at home as a dog. He really is. And then I think this is the week where we might see the passing attack break out. Whether it's Fields or Russ, whoever plays, I feel like they've had to go back to the drawing board. They've had to come up with new schemes, new designs to try to get guys more open. So I'm going to go over 1.5 touchdown passes, whether it's Fields or Russ.
Man, if Russ comes out and throws for more than 2 touchdowns, Steelers win the game. I'm going to be ecstatic. If the passing game looks good and they come out and beat the Jets, I will be ecstatic. I'll come on here and say, all right, fine, I'm good with Russ. Let's run this thing out and see what we can do. I'm not touching over-unders anymore. I think it's fucking crazy. I'm done doing it. I can't hit an over-under ever. I'm going to take Steelers over 18.5 points. I like that. I agree. I think they get to 20. I think they get to 20 points, even though the Jets defense is good. I think our rushing attack should be okay this week. I am worried about the center position. You're going to be without Frazier. That worries the shit out of me. But I do overall think that they're going to score more than 18.5 points. So I am taking the over 18.5. Jerry Don, anything else you want to add this week?
No, I just, for the Twitter people and Instagram people who have been in my DMs saying I don't know ball and all this stuff about Fields, how he's so much better than Russ. Russ sucks. Keep that same energy if Russ goes out there and plays a really solid game. Because I'm going to come here on this podcast with some energy myself and tell you I told you so.
If he sucks, Jerry, not only are you going to get buried, I'm going to bury you too, just because of, we've been on opposite sides of this coin all season. So the terrible tailgate this week, Jerry Don, it's going to be an absolute banger. Yeah. So last week we had Le'Veon and AB in Vegas. This week we are tailgating with Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, and Mike Wallace. And there is a chance that you're going to see maybe an Elon Musk come by. There's going to be some political celebrities. I'm just throwing it out there. There is a chance you're going to see some of these people stop by the terrible tailgate. Antonio Brown is doing a register to vote campaign. Obviously, we know Antonio Brown, giant Trump supporter this year. So he's been big on Twitter supporting the Donald. I think it's going to be an absolutely electric, terrible tailgate. We've already almost sold out. So if you guys are going to hear this and looking to buy tickets, I would buy them immediately. Red Lot 5A, you cannot miss it. It's right in the corner of the lot. All of those guys are going to be there. It's going to be an absolutely incredible experience. We can't wait to see you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, continue to share the podcast where you find it. Run those subscriptions. If you haven't subscribed yet, run down there, just click that subscription button. Give us that subscription. We're going to get this thing to 20,000 subscribers. When we do, you guys will get $2,000. We will see you here Sunday night after the game. We will record and get that out Monday to you. We appreciate the shit out of you guys. We'll see you here Sunday night.
All right, see you Sunday night, Kevin.
Later, Jerry.
We're here. We're still here.
We are still here.